Hello, silly people, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Trey, and today we're going to go over how I made this, or some of the selected tools that I use. I only use about 20% of Adobe Illustrator to make something like this. So let's go over some of my selected processes to make something like Beautiful Beast Kiss, Year of the Snake Illustrator in Illustrator. Let's go. New file, size good, RGB good. Let's create that. File, place, it's in the image files, BBK Year of the Snake, and we hit template, check template down at the bottom and put place. It's a little large, but it's knocked back a little bit. It's on this layer and a layer above it. Let's unlock that. Hit E for the free transform and hold shift, and we can control the size. There we go. Control that. All right. And then we have our image placed in our file. And once Beautiful Beast Kiss is imported, or whatever illustration image, whether it's a really rough sketch or something like an ink drawing, into the program, and I have it at the bottom. It's just this image. I can turn it on and off. And by using the template, it brings it in and fades it back a little bit so that I can see my darker Illustrator lines on top. And now I use a lot of layers. Nobody has to do this many layers, but for myself, I like to have different things color-coded for different areas. Like, for example, her skin and body color, since she's a tiger, is in the orange and reds. The outfit that she wears, her underclothes are a navy bluish, so I put that on something like a bluish color. Her tank top and dress are green, and I put those on green layers, as well as the snake. I'll put that on a green layer. But the idea is that everything is color-coded so that I can just look at it visually and go, okay, I know such and such is on a certain layer because of the color that it should be in my mind. Now you can find your own system that would help your process. So I have all these layers, and I don't use all of them, but I like to have options just in case I come up with something that, needs to be added on a separate layer and whatnot. And I arrange them so that the oranges are close to each other, the greens are close to each other, and all that. And then I get to work. Some of the tools that I use, I only use a very, very small amount, but those tools are the selection tool. The shortcut is V. And with the selection tool, you can move objects around in space. And I use that sometimes, but mostly I use the direct selection tool, which is an A. And with the direct selection tool, you can lay down anchor points. And those anchor points, you can have arms extending off of them, and you can shift and move curves around. And so you can alter your image and modify it to how you desire. The pen tool is what I use the most. P is the shortcut. And with the pen tool, you put down an anchor point. And if you hold that anchor point and drag it out, arms will come off of it. And those arms can help you modify the shape. So that's P is the shortcut for the pen tool. There's another one, the curvature, but I don't use that I hardly use it. Mostly just the pen tool. And also for cleanup, I use the shape builder, and I'll give you an example of that a little bit later. It's used to unify shapes, but also I can delete certain areas using the Shape Builder tool and the shapes. And if you press and hold it down, you can see there's the rectangle tool, shortcut M, the rounded rectangle tool, the ellipse tool. If you hold shift, you can make a perfect circle, and that's L. The polygon tool, the star tool, and the flare tool. And with the polygon and the star tool, let's take the polygon tool for example. Let's unlock a layer. So polygon, and if you hold shift, it'll keep its orientation. If not, it'll swirl around. The selection tool, which is V, and I can move it around. But also, let's see. If you just touch the canvas, you can change how many sides your polygon will have, and it'll remember what you last inputted. So say I wanted 8 sides to this polygon. 8, okay. And it just made it. Right? Just much like this one in size. The V for the selection tool, you can hold the center point and move it. The E is for the free transform. Free transform, E is the shortcut. And with that, I can scale it up and down. And that's if holding shift, it'll keep its exact shape. Just get smaller. If I don't hold the shift key, I can make it alter it. And I use the shape tool a fair amount, but mostly I use the pen tool to make my own shapes. All right. So those are the tools that I use the most often, which isn't much, considering this whole program has a lot. But those are, I'd say I use about 20% of the total program. Those are the ones I use the most. And first, I start with the outline. And the outline is the thickest line that I usually do. And so in this case, but this time I wanted to do it a little bit differently, where I have my outline layer. And it goes all around the outside, but I wanted, say, the tail to have a different stroke. Or the stroke is the line. And you can change the points by going to property. So it's currently a 5-point, 5 pt stroke. And you can take it to a 6 if you, let's make sure I'm on that layer, unlock it, touch the layer, touch the stroke, go to properties, and you can take it up to a 6, to a 7, or you can take it down so that the stroke gets thinner. I'll leave it at a 5, but what I wanted to do was have the character outline as a 5, the thickest thing. What is behind her, like her tail and the snake's tail, would be a 4 in stroke. While the snake and her arm are coming towards us, and so I made those a 6-point stroke. So let's take a look at that. The tail, right, is a 4-point, while the snake is a 6-point. All the outside lines I usually do first. It's the first thing on my agenda. And then after that, I have the total outside lines. I then go for the head, which sounds weird now. Go for the head because I figure once I have the head in place, everything else is easier, right? This is the hardest thing. So with the head, so right, and the lines aren't as thick of a stroke as the outside lines. So I keep everything inside at a thinner stroke than the outside lines. Start with the head. And then I usually do the eyes. The eyes are next. Right, these are the most important parts of a total illustration because people always look at a character in the face and the eyes to try to find out what is the emotional state of a character. And then I just keep stacking on top of that, trying to keep things together. Did the snake. The interior lines lighter than the outside stroke. And it's just a building process. I did the hair front of the head on its own layer. And then doing the clothing, I broke it up to her underclothes, which is this athletic wear. And I put that on a blue layer. Her underclothes. And it wasn't too strenuous. The hardest part is getting the head. Once the head is done, I feel like everything else is great. Head, tank top, which is a thinner stroke than her underclothes, her athletic wear, and then her dress, starting with the bottom part, which is a thicker stroke. And then I put her stripes on, and that's a 1-point stroke. And it's pretty much done. And after that, then it's the long process of details. Details can take quite some time, but I usually leave that for the end as the cleanup. Well, details and cleanup at about the same time. So with details, right, different line weights, different stroke. Some I just end the line. Some I build it out and fill it. Yeah. Final thing, because her eyes, right? Top of her eyes are going past her eyelashes. When that's not good. That's not what we want. So we got to find out where we'll lock that detail layer and figure out where her eyelashes are. Unlock that, select the layer. Is it direct select? Camera. And select the whole thing. All of her eyes, right? It's all selected. And we go to the Shape Builder tool, which is Shift M as a shortcut. Shape Builder. Now, if you cover over certain areas, they turn a grayish. Right? And there's a plus sign. And this is if you want to combine this as one whole shape. But I don't want to do that. I like to keep everything separate. But what I want to do is get rid of this part. So Option, and it will see the red line and the minus sign, the arrow. It means it'll delete it. So, right, I'm not on it. It has an arrow with a plus sign, but Option makes a negative sign. Hover over the anchor point you want to delete, and it shows red, delete it. And I'll do that for this side too. And delete. Now, you say, but it didn't get all of it, right? And that is correct. But we can adjust this to be underneath this. So back to the direct select tool. And if we can find an anchor point, there we go. All right, we have the new ending. Move it underneath. Get in there. There you are. There you are. I have arms coming off of this thing that aren't needed. But that is that. Hopefully we won't botch the second one like I was botching the first one. Okay, so anchor point. Find it, move it. Find it, move it. See, that was so simple. I don't know why the first one was just acting up on me. So anyways, that's how I use the shape builder to make corrections. And then once it's all done, I take a look at the whole thing. By that template layer that I had underneath, I take it away to check if it looks at all reasonable, right? With the template on and then the template off, and it's all there. And that has been a brief overview of my process of making Beautiful Bee's Kiss, Year of the Snake, this little illustration in Illustrator. Thank you for joining me. I have been Trey. You can find my work at treyhodges.com. Power to the creators, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.